I want to learn Chinese. I swear I do. I really do. It's just that Chinese is a really hard language, and funnily enough, it's not why you'd think. You see, when I first saw Chinese, I immediately thought, doesn't this language have hundreds of different characters? It's going to be impossible to learn all of these. Several months later, and I'm stuck with a completely different problem. Reading is easy. Well, easier at least. Everything else is the problem. But I'll get to that. First, I should cover the stuff that I was supposed to be doing. So yeah, I'm still making progress, but I've very much both severely overestimated how much Chinese learning I could get done since the last video, as well as underestimating how long all the learning would take, which you'd think by now I would have a bit of a better grasp on since, I've already had to re-estimate all of my Duolingo goals. So, before I get into the meat and potatoes of this video, I better go through what I've done since the last video. First and foremost, Duolingo Checkpoint 2 finally got completed 2 weeks after my already revised goal, though in the grand scheme of things, being 14 days over isn't that big of a deal. However, it was a mad rush to get there, and let me clarify. Previously, I was taking Duolingo rather casually, practicing new topics and revising old ones and moving on when I was suitably comfortable with the latest material. This generally meant not moving on to the next topic until I was about level 4 out of 5. This was already an improvement over my progression prior to the last video where I ended up stalling and no longer making progress on the new vocabulary. This time around, I was actively trying to do a lesson in the latest topic every day or so. It was working well and progress was steady, but it wasn't fast enough. With the due date of my Checkpoint 2 completion goal fast approaching, I decided on a new approach to speed up my progress, which I'll hereby call, the Overflow Approach? I guess that'll do. It worked like this. Every day or two I would start a new topic and get it all up to level 1. The previous topic, already on level 1, I'd power through to level 2. Topics on level 2, I would complete half of their lessons. Topics can have anywhere from 3 to 6 lessons to complete a level, which is why I don't say 2 or 3 lessons. Level 3, same as level 2, half of the lessons. Level 4, I would slow down to only doing a single lesson. If you visualize it as pouring water into a pyramid of glasses and the latest topic as the top of the pyramid, the water, or the amount of lessons that I complete, flows down to the older, lower level lessons, becoming less and less the level of the lesson, hence the name Overflow. This method was very efficient at blasting through lessons. It also wasn't too bad in terms of learning. While I can say that I'm stronger with the older material, it's harder to judge whether that's because the material from those older topics are reincorporated into newer topics, or because I spent too much time stalling on them before moving on to the newer topics. The fact that words and characters are re-implemented in later topics softened the blow of taking in so much new vocabulary, since I was revising new topic words in even newer topic sentences. While it did get me achieving my goal, there were some pretty hefty downsides. First, doing all these lessons each day took a lot of time, and it definitely took a bite out of my other projects, and especially the time I was spending on Domino, though I'll address that later. For a comparison point, Duolingo has you set a daily experience goal, and the highest that goal would go up to is 50 experience. Though, actually, as an aside, I just checked to verify that number, and I see they've changed it from experience to minutes. That's different. Duolingo gets a bunch of updates all the time, and stuff like this sometimes slips under the radar. At the time though, it was definitely 50 experience, so back to the story. As I was saying, the highest daily goal was 50 experience, and they also have monthly challenges of hitting 1000 experience for the month. I was well and truly using the Overflow approach in April, and I hit that monthly goal only 3 days into it. This was also the day that I completed Checkpoint 2. Averaging a daily experience yield of 441. This wasn't by cheesing it either, spending the 2 times experience potions on broken topics and getting 90 points a pop. This was predominantly new lessons at around 20 experience points per lesson. This brings me to the second, almost bizarre downside. The The more experience you earn, the harder you have to go in order to not drop down a league. I quickly learned that your league group scales to your experience. Previously taking it seriously but not practicing the overflow approach, I was gently oscillating between 8th to 15th place every week, ending comfortably with several hundred points. When using the overflow approach, having less than 1,000 points meant you were outside of the top 25 and were going to drop out of the Diamond League. This is crazy. If I dropped to a lower league after earning a weekly experience total of 900, I would be terribly dispirited, especially when in my current league with a day to go as I'm writing this script, I'm second place with just under 700. This means on days when I really didn't have the time and had to do a quick lesson to maintain the streak, I was in more danger of dropping down a league than weeks when I took it easier overall. The final, largest downside was the burnout. Once I hit that checkpoint 2 goal, I felt so done with learning vocab that I proceeded to stall for the next month and a half. I took it slow, revised some of the more recent stuff. I kept saying to myself, tomorrow's the day I'll start the first topic of checkpoint 3. But no, I didn't. I had completely stalled on making progress. Eventually, I pulled myself out of the funk and have once again started making progress, but unless I absolutely murder myself with the overflow approach again, I'm unlikely to hit that July goal that I've set for myself. I know, don't pretend to be shocked, I've missed another language goal. My current approach is a less intensive version of the overflow approach, which I guess I'll call the trickle approach. It's the same concept. Once a topic has hit level 2, move on to the next one, keep the same sort of level parity as the overflow approach, but this time spread over a week instead of a single day. It means I keep consistently learning new topics, but just at a much slower rate. To touch on Domino, I'm about halfway through the level 1 course. I feel bad for Domino. It's not its fault that I got absolutely bodied by Duolingo, and my puny human brain doesn't differentiate between Duolingo learning and Domino learning when it's burnt out. It's all like, oh, I've done so much Chinese already, I don't want to do anymore. But Domino's not the same thing, it's just videos and the odd quiz. But it's all Chinese, they both start with a D and end with an O. So, yeah, I'm going to buckle down and complete the sections. It does help that a lot of the vocab I've already covered in Duolingo, and the Domino lessons just help me understand it better. Every section is only about 45 minutes each, and there's like 9 of them left. 2 a week, and I'll have it done before long. I'm sorry, Felix. I'm enjoying the course, I swear. So, my current learning progress out of the way, let's talk about the real topic of this video. How bloody difficult Chinese is. And not the characters, not the reading. It's the listening. Talking to, but oh my stars, the listening. Like I mentioned in the last Chinese video that Peppa Pig, a show made for literally children, speaks too fast for me. But that is slow in comparison to adult Chinese. I've watched some Chinese drama, 99% of which are conveniently subtitled in Chinese, and while I'm reading the subtitles and I get like halfway through the line and bam, they're on to the next one. Even if it's a phrase where I recognize like most of it, I try to listen and hear what the actors are saying and it all just hits me like a tsunami of barely intelligible syllables. Like, have you ever seen those videos of auctioneers calling out bids and it's like a non-stop stream of words that would sound more at home in a rap album? Most adult Chinese feels like it's spoken at that speed. The annoying thing is that I know, at least intellectually, what I need to do to rectify the issue. Talk more in Chinese and listen to more Chinese. I mean, that's the worst part. It's like being in school and you suck at a subject and you just know that the obvious solution would be to, surprise, surprise, study that subject more. But that doesn't make doing it any easier. With speaking, I can get a bit more creative with it. I've started putting sticky notes everywhere containing different words, like knife, fork, spoon, and chopsticks, and I put that on the cutlery drawer. Each note has the word in Chinese characters, the pinyin beneath it, and the English below that. When I see them, I repeat them out loud to create the association. Another thing that I've been doing is, whenever I realize that I know a sentence in Chinese after I've said it to Honey in English, I'll try repeating it in Chinese. Normally getting something wrong, but hey, it's the thought that counts. I certainly don't do it enough though, and I should try saying things first in Chinese and then English after I've gotten it wrong. Honey, for her part, is trying every now and again to say things in Chinese instead of English to me. But after being in a relationship for such a long time, speaking almost always English, it's something that doesn't come very naturally to her. Though she does have some key phrases that she says to me in Chinese, mainly asking for me to fill up her water bottle. Something I need to do more, and more confidently, is talking to Honey's family in Chinese. There's nothing worse than the feeling of knowing that you know something but not knowing what that something is, and that's caused me to really stumble in the past when trying to get sentences from my brain and out of my mouth. But as, Justin Timberlake said this? Well, yeah, as Justin Timberlake said, build a bridge and get over it. If I say 1,000 things and only get 100 right, that's better than only saying 100 things and getting half of them correct. Honey's family are lovely, as is she, and I'm sure they appreciate my effort. I do think the sticky notes will help. I'm starting to reach the point where the vocab is really getting heavy, and I need more frequent exposure. I'm excited for when I have the moment of, what was the word for why? Oh, I remember, it was on the washing machine. Listening still poses a problem though. While I hope to have some improvement with increased use and frequency of conversations with Honey and her family, I don't know. I'm lacking optimism that I'll ever be able to listen and process what someone is saying fast enough to have a conversation as if I'm not both talking to and being talked at as if I'm a 3-year-old. Watching shows for adults is pretty much out of the question with how I am now. Also, as a side note, when people don't pronounce things the same as the voices in Duolingo, it's difficult for me to understand. There was a case when Honey's mum said something to me, quite a simple phrase which I, in theory, understood. However, she pronounced one of the words in a way that was different than how Duolingo did it, and I was left confused, requiring Honey to tell me what she said. I need exposure, and a lot of it. I need to practice both passive and active listening. Passive listening is putting something on in the background, not as the focus of your attention. Active listening is the opposite, being fully concentrated on what is being said. These are both things in my original plan, but I think I need to put more effort into actually, doing it. So, what goals should I come up with to actually achieve these things? Well, first, I'm going to make 100 sticky notes. I bet Honey is going to hate it. Sticky notes everywhere. But I need to increase exposure, especially relationships between objects and words. Next, I need to watch some stuff. So I'll watch something? A series. 20 episodes of it. Which series, I don't know, but I'm going to work my way up to Peppa Pig level, so it'll be something on the equivalent of Teletubbies. Or maybe I'll just brute force my way with Peppa Pig and other Mandarin shows on ABC and see how it goes. I'll report back with my findings. Third, and I'll need Honey's help with this one, I need to tell Honey something about my day 50 times, and ask her a question about her day 30 times. I'll have to try hard not to repeat myself. I'll create something that can be filled out to track what I've said and what I've asked. Hopefully I'll be able to understand her replies. With those new goals in mind, let's try to realign. I'm not going to reschedule my lesson goals until next video because by then I'll be able to tell how far behind I am on Duolingo. Though if I manage to stick to my twice-a-week domino goal, that should be complete by then, so I can somewhat say I'm not too far off track. I'll need to create that sheet, though maybe I'll just make it a Google Sheet. Most importantly, I need to make myself a schedule for Chinese and stick to it. I need to cleanly divide up my week and make sure on certain days I definitely do the specific learnings that I need to do in order to properly focus on my... Yeah, alright, I get it, yes, I said I was going to create some YouTube shorts about learning Chinese. Obviously, those haven't materialized yet. I started working on a script, creating assets, but I wasn't really happy with it. Then I hit the burnout and more or less didn't continue pursuing that goal. Fine. I'll create one on stream, alright? On stream at twitch.tv/blobbertmcnugget. I'll draw the assets on stream, maybe even talk script, and I'll upload a short to YouTube, okay? Jeez. I think that covers everything. For those of you who have learnt other languages, how did you handle learning to listen in a different language? What was a trick that helped you become more fluent in understanding? Please share any tips you have with me in the comments down below. I'd greatly appreciate your input. After all, it's we attempt new things, not I attempt new things. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you have a fruitful day.